Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to the JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing episode number 30 of I Build Your Teams, a series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team, unlimited and or competitive play based on how much MT they have and what their team is currently looking like. Before we hop onto the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 4,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day. I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, trying to hit that mark in the near future, just over 100 subscribers away, and I would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe again if y'all haven't already. But yeah, without further ado, let's not waste time. Let's hop right into it. Let's start off with the first team today, which comes in from my boy Ant-Man. He's got about 300k on Xbox with the squad, wants to buy Levine and Blake, and I don't think that's a bad idea. But I will say, if you were to buy Levine and Blake once their prices settle, which to be fair, 300k right now is not going to get you those cards, because like Blake is literally more than 300k by himself, but maybe in a few days or a week it will. But that being said, that is probably not the direction I personally would go with on the squad, just because that makes your bench really, really small. MJ, Pippen, Zion, Tim Duncan, and D-Rob is a really good starting lineup, especially having MJ, because MJ is the best card in the game on current gen. Absolutely dominant card in of himself, so it's definitely right there, just not something that I think needs to be changed or anything, because I think he gives you a huge advantage just having that card against people who don't have him. But that being said, I do think it would probably benefit you to try to make some changes to make your bench a little bit taller, and I don't know that Blake Griffin is honestly the way to go right now with the way that your bench is currently looking. The first thing I might consider doing would be moving Rudy Gay to the backup 3 and then picking up a guy like Josh Smith to play the 4. Just gives you a little bit more size in your back, well, off your bench, and it won't cost you really any MT, because Josh Smith is 7,000 MT. The next thing that I would consider doing personally would be buying a guy. You could still go Levine if you wanted to, but I think you could go Cade Cunningham, save yourself a lot of MT. Cade's going to give you a lot of what Levine gives you for a cheaper amount, and then I think that gives you more flexibility with your MT to buy a backup center, at which point you can go Patrick Ewing, and suddenly you have a bench that has a lot more size to it. I think is going to give you a lot more versatility defensively, and still have the scoring punch with guys like Cade, RJ Barrett, and Rudy Gay, who can still go get you a bucket off your bench as well. So for me personally, that's just the way that I would look to build the squad, would be to keep your starters the same and then run a bench of Cade, RJ, Rudy Gay, Josh Smith, and Patrick Ewing. But that's just my opinion. If you want to go Cade, Zach, or Levine and Blake, that's up to you. It's definitely your squad. Next team comes in from C4. He's got 290 KMT. Looking to get Kareem and Zion soon. It's a good squad. MJ, again, same thing. Best card in the game. Definitely worth having. Ben Wallace, Josh Smith, D-Rob, and Ewing. You have a great defensive lineup and a primary ball handler. MJ, I really do like that. Then your bench is really good as well. Great size. With 300... excuse me, with 300k, I don't think I would personally be looking to pick up Zion, because I think Josh Smith and Danny Ferry, with their elite size, elite defense, and really solid offensive capabilities, can hold it down to the 3. What I might consider doing personally, and this is just me, would be moving Patrick Ewing to the backup 4 and then selling Bull and trying to save your MT just a bit so that you can get yourself that Kareem and start him at center. I think if you can do that, that's really going to be the best upgrade for your squad right now, because I think the rest of your squad is really, really good, but being able to add that top level center in Kareem at the center position and then having Ewing off the bench at the backup 4 is just the best way to go about upgrading the squad slightly. But that being said, this is already a very good team. Not a ton of changes need to be made. Next team today comes in from here. He's got almost 600 KMT. Doesn't know what to do with the squad. He's on current gen. Cade, Mullen, Scotty, Eddie, D-Rob, Brad Beal, Ben Wallace, Jeremy Grant, Danny Ferry, and Hakeem. For me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Bradley Beal. I don't think he's bad. I just think he's a little bit undersized. But that being said, he is still a very usable card. You could definitely use him if you want and have fun with him. And he does have, he doesn't have great size, but that's really the only flaw with the card. Everything else is very, very solid. 580k MT is a lot of MT though. So for me personally, I might consider trying to pick up a guy like Patrick Ewing, just like I recommended for the last squad. I do think he's a big upgrade over Hakeem or Eddie Curry, depending on how you decide you want to do it, whether you want to put him at the 4 and slide Eddie Curry to the backup 5, whether you want to put him at the 4 and take Eddie Curry out of the lineup entirely, or put him at the backup 5 and take Hakeem out of the lineup. It's got a couple different ways to go there, but that for me would be the biggest thing to do. I might also consider picking up a guy like Cade Cunningham instead of Ben Simmons, who also gives you height off the bench at the point guard position, but is also a lot more versatile if you decide you need that height. So for me personally, that's one other swap I might make. But otherwise, you already have a very good team. I don't think you're in need of significant upgrades besides potentially center position, adding a guy like Ewing, or even Kareem if you wanted to spend your MT. So that's another thing you could do, is potentially look to pick up a guy like Kareem if you decided that's where you wanted to go. Next team to get it comes in from Wiz, and he's got a million MT with one of the best squads you can possibly build. Like, this is obviously a flex team. Very, very good squad. For me personally, when you have a team this good, I think at this point you're looking at trying to build one of the best squads in the game. With a million MT, there's only one purchase that I'd be looking to make right now, and that would be Paul George, because I do think fitting him next to Michael Jordan, who is your primary ball handler. PG doesn't have a lot of responsibility as a ball handler. It can just be an elite defender with great length, great secondary ball handling skills and things like that. And then you can move Mullen to the backup 2, and then run one of Cedric or Thurl Bailey at your backup 3, and that is going to give you really arguably the best team that you can build on current gen. I might take Artis over Dikembe, and you can nitpick here or there, but honestly, you pick up PG, you move Mullen to the backup 2, and then one of Cedric and Thurl at the backup 3, and you are right up there with the best squad you can possibly build on current gen. Really, really elite squad all the way around. Next team comes in from F-Gun. He's got 250 KMT, diamond shoes on everyone. Another team that has MJ and Lucas, so he's got the 2 best point guards in the game on next gen, current gen, whatever, but on next gen, he's got the 2 best PGs for sure. Ben Wallace and Pippen give you 2 elite defenders, Zion and Ferry. I like D-Rob, Bulbul, Ewing, and Hakeem. And this is just another one of those teams that I don't think you can make significant upgrades unless there's only one way that I actually see you being able to make a significant upgrade. Because I will say, I do think your weakest point on your team is your backup 4 and 5. Not to say Bulbul and Hakeem are bad, especially on next gen. Bulbul's really good, and Hakeem's good on both gens. But I do think you could potentially replace Zion with a guy like Rudy Gay or Josh Smith. You could even start Ferry at the 3 and bring Josh Smith or Rudy Gay off the bench at the backup 3, and that will free up some MT by selling Zion to get you closer to the 400 to 500,000 MT mark, which would give you the possibility to either pursue locking in Artis Gilmore or picking up a Kareem. For me personally, I'd be looking to pick up Kareem, so I don't have that MT locked in on Artis. So for me, that's what I would probably do, is sell Zion, start Danny Ferry at the 3, Josh Smith or Rudy at the backup 3, and then go D-Rob, Kareem, Bulbul, and Ewing. That's just my opinion for next gen specifically on how to change this team, is just to upgrade that front court with Kareem. But otherwise, you got a really good squad. Really, the only way you're going to be upgrading right now is by tactically downgrading a guy like Zion to free up some MT for your squad. Next team comes in from Cal Rosal. He's got 522,000 MT, and another very good team. On next gen, he's got Luka, who's the best point guard in the game. Jalen Rose is fine. Giannis and Ben Wallace is really good. Thurl Bailey, AD, same thing. So he's got elite defenders. The one thing that I feel like is a bit of an issue is DeMarcus Cousins and Yao off the bench. I know Yao is still good on next gen. DeMarcus isn't bad, but I definitely do think you can potentially look to upgrade, whether that's looking to upgrade to a guy like Patrick Ewing or the cheaper option, which is a Bulbul. Either way, on next gen, those guys are both going to be upgrades over DeMarcus Cousins. And I actually do think you could potentially look to upgrade your backup PG position as well. Jalen Rose is not bad, but I do think he's a tiny bit outdated. You can replace him with a guy like Zach LaVine, Dwayne Wade, Cade Cunningham. Any of those guys are going to be upgrades over Jalen Rose. So for me personally, once you upgrade that backup power forward position, backup point guard position, you're going to be sitting with a very, very good squad. You have the MT to make those moves as well, whether you want Ewing or Bulbul, whether you want Cade, Wade, LaVine, guys like that. You have the MT flexibility to make it happen. And then finally, we got the last team today, which is a massive flex squad. Comes in from Alec. He's got 8.3 million MT, which, like, I'm so jealous. That's a crazy amount of MT. I'm gonna guess he plays on next gen because he's starting Luka. So assuming he plays on next gen, Luka and MJ, best 2 PGs in the game. Doesn't really matter who you start, who comes off the bench. Kawhi, LaVine, Giannis, PG, LeBron, Dikembe, Blake, and Kareem. For me personally, when you have a team like this, at this point, you're just looking to build the best squad in the game. And for me personally, the best squad in the game right now is going to be Luka and MJ at the 1s, but then I would personally go Paul George and Chris Mullen, or actually on next gen, I'd go Paul George and Cedric Maxwell at the 2s. I'd then go Giannis, and you could run LeBron if you're a LeBron fan off the bench at the 3. That's probably what I would do. And then go D-Rob and Blake at the 4s and Dikembe and Kareem at the 5s. That, I think, gives you a better 10-man for me personally, picking up a guy like who did I say at the 2? Cedric Maxwell, and having him and PG as your 2s as well, and then having more size at the 3. I think that's probably the way that I would look to go personally, would just be to build that squad of Luka, PG, Giannis, D-Rob and Dikembe, and then MJ, Cedric. Who did I say at the backup 3? I don't even remember who I said it. You could, I guess, LeBron, because he's really good on next gen, and then Blake and Kareem. That, I think, is the perfect 10-man for this team. You have a ton of MT, obviously a great flex squad. I just think upgrading to those guys is really going to give you basically the best team you can possibly have in game right now. So as y'all can see, a lot of really good teams today. Didn't have a ton of upgrades actually needed on squads, just kind of nitpicky things here or there to make squads better. And if you do want to be involved in a future episode of I Build Your Teams, make sure that you follow me on Twitter and be on the lookout for a tweet about this series. Generally on Friday nights. Drop your team under there and I will take a look at it and try to upgrade it as much as possible for you in the next episode. But if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace. If you need cheap, safe, and reliable MT to build the God Squad that you've always wanted, go to NBA2King.com and use code JC2K at checkout for 5% off.